Good morning, everyone. Please allow me to adopt the protocol so ably established before me, save and accept that I must acknowledge the presence of His Excellency the Governor General, Sir Tapley Seaton, the Honorable Vincent Byron, Attorney General, Minister Eugene Hamilton, His Excellency Chow Hong Lin, Ambassador of the Republic of China, and all other dignitaries present. Good morning also to the viewing and listening public. Thanks for tuning in. What a glorious day it has turned out to be. The sun is now shining, and the land registry now has its new home. Yes, thank you very much, thank you very much. This is a significant step in the journey towards independence from the High Court Registry. The establishment of a dedicated land registry in St. Kitts with a branch in Nevis is indeed a historic event. As mentioned before, in times past, legal transactions relating to registering property were being dealt with in the High Court Registry, along with all other legal matters, for example, probate, deed poll, criminal matters, and divorce. Now, the separation of the land matters from the High Court is not unusual, as most of the land registries in the region emerged from registries of a High Court. Our incredible journey began in July 2017 with the enactment of the Land Registry Act, which provides for the establishment of a dedicated national land registry with a main office in St. Kitts and a branch office in Nevis, the staffing of the registry, the converting of hard copy records to and the maintenance of records in an electronic format, and the availability of direct and remote access to registry services. This enactment had become necessary for all of the processes at the Registry of the High Court in St. Kitts dealing with land matters were done manually, as the Permanent Secretary indicated. This, along with the shortness of staff, made it inevitable that there were inordinate delays in the registration of land and the issuing of certificates of title, and these delays were having a disastrous effect on the ease of doing business in St. Kitts. The attorneys at law and the banking industry were anxious for an improvement. Therefore, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs and Communication, as it was at that time, decided that something needed to be done. Hence, the Land Registry Act was therefore enacted in July of 2017. The benefits of establishing a land registry, are as follows: to process and register all property documents in a timely manner. Dealing in lands would close in a shorter period of time. To remove situations where one parcel of land is not sold to two different persons, and the benefits go on and on. Over the last 4 years in St. Kitts, the Land Registry Department moved from being solely housed in the Registry of the High Court to being partly at the Registry of the High Court and partly at the Electoral Office building on Central Street. And now all of the staff are housed within the walls of this building on your right. Yes, thank you very much. And as you can see, there's a sign, Land Registry Department. So we are official. The sign on the wall says St. Christopher, because in dealings with land transaction, there's a St. Christopher circuit and a Nevis circuit. So the Nevis circuit dealings would also have Land Registry Nevis. The Land Registry Department presently, as you know, shares the building with the Intellectual Property Department and coming soon the Law Commission. I do believe that we will be good neighbors, and we at the Land Registry look forward to working side by side with you, Intellectual Property and Ms. Malalu. Over in Nevis, the staff is still housed within the High Court Registry, but it is expected that there will be a similar formal opening ceremony for the Nevis branch of the Land Registry Department early in the new year, when it moves into its new home at the Solomon Arcade, which has beautiful surroundings. Thank you. It would be remiss of me not to mention at this stage the Registrar of the High Court, Ms. Janice Harris Lake, and to thank her for accommodating the officers of the Land Registry. I know that the High Court Registry also suffered from lack of sufficient and adequate space. Over in Nevis, I must also thank Ms. Melissa Fleming, the Assistant Registrar of the High Court, and her staff for all the assistance afforded by them to the work of the Land Registry there. The Permanent Secretary did mention that there were some challenges for the Land Registry. So the road over the last 4 years have not been an easy one for us in St. Kitts. The backlog of matters was extensive. The staff complement was small. Working from 2 separate locations was challenging, with having to carry those big books back and forth from the High Court to the Central Street location, sometimes by car and sometimes by foot. In fact, a concerned citizen saw me putting some of those big black books in my car and thought I might have been stealing them. She said to me, "Lady, where are you going with those books? Are you sure you're authorized to take them out of the court?" I had to assure her that it's okay. It's okay. I know about them. But of course, you would have known, you'd realize that there would have been challenges in moving these books when somebody comes into the High Court Registry and asks for a particular copy of a COT to be told, "Oh, it's not here, it's over at the Central Street location." And then they go over to the Central Street location and they're told, "Oh, but we just sent them back over to the High Court location." So thankfully, all of that is now finished. Another challenge was that there was no Assistant Registrar of Lands, and there is still no Assistant Registrar of Lands, due largely to not finding qualified persons in accordance with the legislation to fill the post. There were financial constraints, and the fact that there was no room to house an assistant. So I, as Registrar of Lands, have had to sign all of the certificates of titles and other documents in St. Kitts and also in Nevis. However, I am now pleased to say that we are successful in overcoming most of these challenges. We have been successful in obliterating the backlog. I should still say, though, as a caveat, that we do have 1 or 2 matters that will be before the establishment of the Land Registry that we are working on that has legal issues. So there are still a couple of matters outstanding. But the lands have actually been registered on an average within a period of 2 months, once there is no problems, once there are no problems with the documents. And with respect to the Assistant Registrar of Lands, we can now accommodate an Assistant Registrar of Lands. We now have a room with a signed marked Assistant Registrar just waiting for an occupant. So in the new year, an advertisement will be circulated for such a position. This person is really essential because it is amazing that there are so many land transactions and economic activity in this relatively small country. Another success story is the completion of the search function, as was mentioned before. Only the title registry can be searched at this stage, though. The deeds registry will be available for searching early in the new year. This function allows the attorneys at law and their clerks to search the records of the Land Registry Department in St. Kitts from the comfort of their offices. The St. Kitts Nevis Bar Council members and 2 senior members of the bar were invited to test the search function and provide their comments. Their suggestions for the tweaking of the system were taken into account and the relevant modifications made. It is envisaged that the training will shortly be undertaken with the attorneys to allow them to efficiently maneuver this system. Of course, this project and this search, as you would have heard before, arises out of a signing of an implementing agreement for the St. Kitts and Nevis Land Administration Information System back in June 2018 between the governments of St. Kitts and Nevis and the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan. Another function of the LAIS, which will be completed in a couple of months, is the ability for attorneys and their clerks to remain in their offices and present their documents online for registration. Communication with the attorneys will then be online with regard to any inconsistencies or errors in the documents. They will be able to track the progress of their documents online. This function will again be sent to the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Council members for testing prior to its launch. Payment, you must be wondering, what about payment for all of this service? A payment module was therefore developed within the LAIS. Users will be required to pay an annual subscription to be able to use the system, namely to present the documents online and to have the ability to search. Users will eventually have the option of coming to the land registry to pay, or they can pay online with the use of a credit card, the payment being made through the land registry department directly to the National Bank. We are presently working with Ms. Desiree Connor at the Treasury Department to establish an online payment facility through the SendPost payment portal. Thank you, Ms. Connor. We are anticipating that the attorneys at law and their clerks can begin using the search function by the middle of January 2022 after a small period of training. The online payment facility might not be ready at that time, but they can still attend to the registry to pay. So how much? This is the procedure. Attorneys at law must first register with the Land Registration Department and pay a subscription fee of only 500 EC dollars before they are allowed to access the LAIS. Fees are payable prior to January 31st of each year, commencing in 2022. If registration occurs after January 31st, there are no penalties, but the subscription will not be reduced, and there's no return policy. Once you're into the system, all activities in the LAIS will be based on credit evaluation, and each credit is equivalent of $5. It's similar to the portal at the High Court. You have the account, you put your monies into the account, and as you use the search, the money is drawn down. So each registered attorney or firm will be given access to his or her own credit account and must deposit money sufficient to conduct business in the LAIS. If you want to do a search, there'll be 2 credits, cost of $10. It is $10 per search, not $10 to search the entire day. So if you're searching for Joe Brown, it's $10. If you've already searched for Joe Brown and you want to go to Jane Brown, it is another $10. Very, very, very affordable. So you've gone past the search now and you've gone to download your documents so that you can use them. A certificate of title would be 3 credits, which is $15. A canceled COT is 3 credits, which would be $15. A memorandum of caveat, 3 credits, $15. A memorandum of mortgage, 3 credits, $15. Other documents, 3 credits, $15. You notice it's just $15. We have not even gone up. See how affordable it is? Right. Thank you. Right, I said this already, that the attorneys at law should note that payments received will be considered final and will not be refundable. There will be more information given to the attorneys at the training. I'm sure they would want to ask a number of questions, and that will be afforded to them at the appropriate time. Our successes continue. The number of documents executed by the Registrar of Lands over the last 4 years exceeds 10,000 in St. Kitts and over 5,000 in Nevis. And the above, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a lot of hard work. Thank you very, very much. And the above does not take into account the continuous work being performed in relation to various applications to the Registrar of Titles, including the applications for first certificate of titles, consolidation of titles, and replacement of certificate of titles. The digitization process is going very well, as over 20,000 records have been scanned and uploaded onto the system. Thank you again. These successes are due to team efforts, and I must mention the members of my staff, Deslyn Richards, Tamara O'Flaherty, Monique Williams Hull, Shanice Nisbet, Kayla Evans, Leanne Keynes, Tiffany Bowie, and Angela Francis. Now, this team has grown. When we started, there were only two of us, but over the years, it's grown. And I must also mention Teslin Flanders and Aretha Grant, because over the years, they have possessed title deeds for the land registry. Now, there are 3 young persons recently employed to scan documents into the system on a 3-month project, and they are performing very well. They are Valisha Lindsay, Glenisha Hobson, and Malachi Chapman. So I wish to thank them and all of the staff members for their support. I'm soon finished. There's also another team, which is the Land Registry Committee. This committee was established by the Registrar of Lands, me, and comprises representatives of the various stakeholders involved in land management and land transactions in St. Kitts and Nevis, with the following functions: to assist with the smooth transition towards an independent land registry, to ensure the necessary policy and legislative framework are developed to ensure lands are properly registered and managed, to oversee the implementation of a land management system for the land registry, and to ensure that a cadastral mapping system be implemented. And this for the survey and demarcation of lands for registration in the land registry. The committee is comprised of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, representatives from the Inland Revenue Departments of St. Kitts and Nevis, various departments of the Ministry of Sustainable Development in St. Kitts, including the Lands and Surveys and the Planning Departments, the Ministry of Communication and Planning et al. In Nevis, the Accountant General, Senior Crown Counsel in the Attorney General's Chambers, Government's E-Government Coordinator, 2 representatives from the Bar Association, and 2 senior private land surveyors, with the Registrar of Lands as chairperson representing the land registries in St. Kitts and Nevis. I thank all of the members on that team for their unwavering support. There is, however, a core group of us who meet on Zoom call with the developers in Taiwan every week or deliberate with regard to cadastral mapping program. I must thank Ophelia Blanchard, whose input has been invaluable, Tashna Powell, Senior Crown Counsel in the Attorney General's Chambers, who also acts as Registrar of Lands in my absence, Edward Chin, the Taiwan's project manager. He works very hard. Tamara O'Flaherty, whose voice you will hear later in the program when the LAIS is being launched, Diana Francis, and Dwight Francis, Director of Lands and Surveys. Also giving us invaluable support is Anthony Gonzalez, QC, and Elizabeth Kelsick, Senior Attorneys at Law, who have been our resource persons with regard to legal input and advice. Right, so we are in our new home, and our mission statement is proudly displayed on the inside, and it says, to provide prompt, efficient, and customer-friendly land registration and information services by leveraging technological advancement in order to guarantee and protect property rights in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we have recently designed a logo which will be published soon. So we have come a long way, and to God be the glory, because without God, I don't think we would have been here. So please, God give the glory. It warmed my heart when the president of the bar, Mr. Garth Wilkin, who is here, on behalf of the Bar Council, told me at a meeting that they appreciated my efforts and that there has been considerable improvement in the registration. That meant so much to me. But there's still much more to do. And here I come to a sensitive topic, and forgive me if I become very passionate. Our rating on the World Bank Ease of Doing Business with regard to the length of time that it takes to register land and property was low. Hence the idea that a national land registry would help to improve the ranking. It was and remains disheartening to me that the harder we worked on reducing the turnaround time to register register property, so the harder we worked on reducing the turnaround time to register property, the lower the ranking fell. I couldn't understand it, and I still don't understand it. I am concerned over the methodology that is being used by the World Bank in getting its information. I have never been approached, or I have never been sent a questionnaire. I had an opportunity, however, afforded to me by the professionals at the Central Bank, and I do thank them, to state my concerns to an officer of the World Bank by Zoom, and that I did. I firmly believe that the appraisal should come from an objective and well-informed position, and I leave it there. I therefore look forward to improvement in our ranking system. So there are exciting plans on the horizon, which includes cadastral mapping, but we will discuss that at another time. And so in closing, I now take this opportunity to thank the attorneys at law and the general public for their support over the last few years and their understanding for any delays as we settle in our new home. I must also thank the Ministry of Finance, without whose support the establishment of a national land registry with a main office in St. Kitts and a branch in Nevis would not have been possible. Merry Christmas, everyone, and remember the new variant Omicron is around. Please stay safe. God bless. Thank you.